Today, I will rank the best and worst exercises for muscle building across all muscle groups. We'll use this tier list. S-ranked moves will be the best of the best, absolute GOATs, while D-ranked ones, well, they're basically trash. I'll be ranking each exercise based on 3 key categories. The first, progressive overload. This is the ability to consistently increase weight or intensity, ensuring your muscles are always challenged and growing. Number 2, muscle stretch. This focuses on maximizing the range of motion, fully stretching the muscle to enhance growth and flexibility. And last but not least, overall feel. Some exercises may offer easy progressive overload and provide a constant stretch on the muscle, but if they aren't beginner-friendly or require complex techniques to learn, they didn't make it to the top of our list. Let's start from the bottom to top and kick things off with the first muscle group on our agenda, the calves. I hate to break it to you, but calves are all genetics. Or at least that is what chicken leg people say. The calves are like every other muscle group in our body. And with the right exercise selection and progressive overload, it is impossible not to see results. But if calves are not genetics, then why don't I see results? It is simple. You're just doing it all wrong. However, if you follow the advice and techniques shared in this video, I guarantee you'll be on your way to transforming those noodle legs. Here's a breakdown of the key muscles involved in the anatomy of the calf. The gastrocnemius is the prominent muscle you see when you look at the back of the leg. It has 2 heads, medial and lateral, which form the bulk of the calf. It is responsible for the plantar flexion of the foot, pointing the toes downward, and helps in knee flexion. Next up, we have the soleus. This muscle lies beneath the gastrocnemius. Although not as visible, it plays a crucial role in the calf's overall function. It contributes to plantar flexion of the foot, but is more active during activities like walking and standing for extended periods. Here you can see the plantaris, which is a small, thin muscle located between the gastrocnemius and soleus. Not everyone has a plantaris muscle, as it can be absent in some individuals. Its focus is mainly to assist in plantar flexion and knee flexion, though its contribution is minor compared to the gastrocnemius and soleus. And finally, we have the Achilles tendon. This strong tendon connects the calf muscle, the gastrocnemius and soleus, to the heel bone, calcaneus. Its function facilitates the transfer of force from the calves to the foot, enabling actions such as walking, running, and jumping. I know, some of you are probably bored by now and just want to get to the exercises. Don't worry, we'll dive into those right now. However, it's important to understand the anatomy of your calves so you can see how they're structured and how they work. With this knowledge in the exercise selections we're about to cover, you'll have a clear understanding of why some people have aesthetic legs and others have noodles. Okay, let's move on to the main part of this video. With that said, let's kick off with bodyweight calf raises. While this exercise can help you build endurance and strengthen the foundation of your calf muscles, it's not the most effective for muscle growth. The reason is that bodyweight calf raises involve a movement similar to walking, which doesn't provide enough resistance to significantly challenge your muscles. Without sufficient resistance, your calves won't experience the level of strain needed to stimulate substantial muscle growth. However, mastering bodyweight calf raises is still valuable for improving muscle activation, perfecting your form, and preparing your calves for more intense, weighted exercises. I'm putting them in the D section. The elevated bodyweight calf raises are a slightly better alternative because they increase the range of motion by allowing your heels to drop below the level of the step or platform. This enhanced range of motion leads to a more effective stretch and contraction of the calf muscles, particularly targeting the soleus. By elevating your feet, you engage the muscles more deeply compared to standard bodyweight calf raises, which can help improve muscle activation and overall endurance. However, while elevated bodyweight calf raises offer some improvement over regular bodyweight raises, they still lack the resistance needed for significant muscle growth. This is why we are placing them in the C tier. A level up exercise will be the one-leg elevated bodyweight calf raise, as it adds a new dimension of challenge and intensity. By performing the exercise on one leg, you significantly increase the load on each calf muscle individually, which enhances muscle activation and engages stabilizing muscles more effectively. The elevated position amplifies the range of motion, allowing for a deeper stretch and contraction of the calf muscles. This increased demand helps to build strength and endurance in each leg while also improving balance and coordination. When it comes to bodyweight variations, the one-legged calf raise is definitely the top choice. However, there are even better exercises that can be performed in the gym, which we'll cover shortly. But for now, let's place this one in the B tier. To make this exercise more effective, you can hold a weighted plate or dumbbell while performing it. Adding extra weight will significantly increase the difficulty and allow you to apply progressive overload, which is crucial for muscle growth. With this adjustment, the exercise moves up to the A section. Next up, we have donkey calf raises. I might be a bit biased, but personally, I find this exercise less effective. The biomechanics are quite similar to other variations we've discussed, but I find the positioning a bit awkward and struggle to achieve a strong mind-muscle connection. For these reasons, I'm placing donkey calf raises in the C category. Alright, let's transition to the weightlifting world and take a look at the weighted variation of donkey calf raises. There is some controversy in the scientific community regarding this exercise. While some studies highlight its effectiveness in muscle activation, others argue that it may not be the best choice. If your gym has a specific machine designed for this exercise, it's worth incorporating into your routine. However, if you need to set up a similar movement using a Smith machine, I would recommend skipping it due to its potential setup challenges and reduced effectiveness. With that said, I'm rating the weighted donkey calf raises in the A category. But keep in mind that the availability of specialized equipment can significantly impact its overall effectiveness. One of the best calf exercises you can do is a standing weighted calf raise on a machine. It's easy to apply progressive overload, and the muscle activation you get from this exercise is exceptional. Without a doubt, this is an S-tier move. If you don't have access to this equipment at your gym, you can easily perform the exercise on a Smith machine. Just make sure to use an elevated surface to maximize the stretch and muscle activation. While this variation is still effective, I place it one level below the machine version because I personally feel a difference in the results. Therefore, it lands in the A category. The seated calf raises are a fantastic way to grow your calves because they specifically target the soleus muscle, which is crucial for calf development. Unlike standing calf raises that focus on the gastrocnemius, the seated position isolates the soleus by reducing knee movement. This results in increased muscle activation, better endurance, and a more balanced calf development. Adding seated calf raises to your routine complements standing variation and promotes overall calf growth. It is landing in the GOAT section S tier. Next up is biking. For a pro tip, place the ball of your foot on the pedal to engage your calves more effectively as you push down. This exercise is going in the B category. Another cardio-based exercise that can aid in calf development is the Stairmaster. For maximum calf activation, be sure to walk on your toes. This one is landing in the B tier as well. The toe farmer walk is not my favorite exercise for developing well-defined calves because it often lacks the intensity and targeted muscle engagement needed for significant growth. Unlike exercises that provide constant resistance and allow for progressive overload, the toe farmer walk typically involves carrying weight while walking on your toes, which may not effectively challenge the calves to the same extent. Additionally, it may not engage the calf muscles as intensely as exercises like standing or seated calf raises. This is why it's going in the B section. Leg press calf raises are effective for calf development because they allow for heavy loading. However, they might not be the best option for everyone due to their limited range of motion and less functional movement compared to other exercises. The horizontal leg press calf raise involves pushing a flat platform away from you, focusing on the calves in a straightforward position. In contrast, the 45-degree leg press features an angled platform that allows for a greater range of motion, providing a deeper stretch and more targeted muscle activation. That is why we are placing the horizontal variation in the B tier and the 45-degree one in the A tier. Ready to elevate your calf game with some pro tips? Here's how to get the most out of your calf workouts. Avoid bending your knees. Keep your legs straight during calf raises to maximize muscle activation and ensure you're targeting the calves effectively. Use an elevated surface. Perform calf raises on an elevated platform, not flat on the ground. This allows for a greater stretch and better muscle activation. Aim for 4 to 5 sets with 20 to 30 reps. Calves respond well to higher reps and sets. This higher volume is crucial for hypertrophy in these muscles. Train frequently. The calves recover faster than other muscle groups, so you can train them 2 to 5 times a week, depending on your progress. Keep rest between sets around 1 minute. Pause and control. At the top of each rep, pause briefly and perform each movement slowly with a strong mind-muscle connection to maximize effectiveness. Now that you know the best and worst calf exercises, it is time to move on to the next muscle group, which is the quads. Our quads have 4 heads: the vastus medialis, vastus intermedius, vastus lateralis, and the rectus femoris. With today's exercise selection, the goal is to target all of these heads. With that said, let's kick off with a well-known group of exercises, the squat. First up, we have the traditional barbell back squat. There are 2 main variations: placing the bar in the upper trap zone or on your rear delts. What's the difference? When you position the bar over your traps, your body stays more upright. targeting the quads more effectively. On the other hand, placing the bar over your delts causes your body to lean forward, activating your glutes and hamstrings as well. Since we're focusing on quad activation, we'll place the first variation in the S tier category and the second one in the A tier. How about the barbell front squat? This exercise achieves more muscle activation than the back squat, thanks to the body's positioning. However, beginners might find it challenging to master the correct form. Many people don't realize that there are 3 different grip variations: the 2-finger grip, the crossed arm grip, and the strap grip. Choose the grip that works best for you. The muscle activation will be the same. We're placing this exercise in the A tier because not everyone is comfortable with the technique it requires. Now, let's move on to the hack squat. This exercise is fantastic for beginners or those with lower back injuries or pain. The machine allows you to completely focus on your quads without engaging in stabilizing muscles like you would in a barbell squat. Recent studies show that hack squat achieves the same muscle activation as the barbell squat. We are definitely placing it in the GOAT section S tier. The Smith machine, a staple in the gym rat meme community. Believe it or not, the Smith machine squat is actually a fantastic exercise. It offers excellent muscle activation and stability, making it beginner friendly. Pro tip for you all: position your legs slightly more forward for even better muscle activation. But keep this position only for the Smith machine, because if you try it with a regular barbell, you'll probably fall on your face. This exercise is definitely an S tier move. The Bulgarian split squat might be one of the most hated exercises out there, but when it comes to muscle activation, it's definitely at the top. You can perform this exercise with dumbbells, a barbell, or on the Smith machine. My personal favorite is the Smith machine variation. However, all 3 variations are going straight into the S tier. Now, let's turn our focus to the split squat. It's similar to the Bulgarian split squat, but doesn't quite hit the mark for quad activation. There are definitely more effective variations out there that will have your quads feeling the burn much more intensely, in my opinion. That's why we're placing it in the B section. However, if you still decide to do it, I recommend placing a weight plate in front of your leading foot or using an elevated surface. This adjustment can significantly enhance muscle activation. Dumbbell squats are a fantastic choice for beginners, but for more advanced athletes, well, they're not the best option. As you progress, achieving progressive overload becomes more challenging. After you max out the dumbbells in your gym, you will have to hug a car and squat with it. Also, the muscle activation isn't quite as optimal compared to the other exercises. That's why we're placing this move in the B section. Can you build massive quads with bodyweight exercises? Let's find out. Jumping squats are great for burning calories, but when it comes to muscle building and hypertrophy, they definitely fall short. They're getting a hard D rating from me. Next on the bodyweight list, we have the pistol squat. If your goal is to impress a random stranger at a party, you'll definitely turn heads with this challenging move. However, if you're aiming to build huge quads, it may not be the most effective exercise. For muscle growth, it's going in the C tier. How about just good old bodyweight squats? They're undoubtedly one of the best moves out there for beginners. However, if you're serious about building substantial quad muscles, this exercise alone won't suffice. It's going in the C section for muscle development. You can't expect to build skyscrapers with Lego blocks, right? Sissy squats, a name that's as quirky as the exercise itself. These bad boys offer a deep stretch for your muscles, which is great for flexibility and mobility. However, when it comes to building serious muscle and achieving progressive overload, they fall a bit short. Plus, let's be real, the movement can be as awkward as a penguin trying to dance ballet. So, I'm slotting sissy squats into the B category. They are a fun addition to your leg day routine for sure, but maybe not your go-to for packing on serious quad gains. I want to share some quick tips that apply to almost every squat variation out there. If you're aiming for increased quad activation, pay attention to your leg positioning. For targeting both your quads and glutes, a wider stance can be more effective. But if you want to focus mainly on your quads, a closer leg position will be even better. Now, let's shift gears from squats and explore the 45-degree leg press. First off, technique is crucial here. Never extend to the full range of motion at the top of the movement. This common mistake can put you at risk for knee injuries. Make sure to note that. For muscle activation, this exercise is excellent, and achieving progressive overload is straightforward. Just don't be that guy who takes all the plates in the gym and puts 4 shipping containers, 3 tanks, and a cat for his set. I am placing this move in the A tier. The horizontal leg press, on the other hand, doesn't quite excel in muscle activation for the quads. These machines often have a limited range of motion, which is the main reason behind this assessment, earning it a spot in the C tier. While it's great for isolating quads without putting too much strain on your back, it simply doesn't provide the full stretch and contraction your muscles need for maximum growth. Now, I want to talk about my favorite quad and overall leg exercise, the leg extension. This exercise is perfect for both beginners and advanced athletes alike. Here's a pro tip. Adjust your seat slightly back. Studies have shown that this adjustment provides a better stretch on your quadriceps, which is crucial for promoting hypertrophy and maximizing gains. By adjusting the seat, you can ensure that your quads are fully engaged throughout the entire range of motion. Additionally, incorporating advanced techniques such as drop sets and pausing at the top of the movement can further enhance your results. Drop sets involve reducing the weight after reaching muscle failure to continue pushing your muscles to their limits. Pausing at the top of the movement increases time under tension, stimulating muscle fibers more effectively. These tips not only optimize your leg extension workout, but also help you achieve stronger and more defined quadriceps over time. I'm placing this exercise in the GOAT section S tier without a doubt. Deadlifts are undoubtedly a powerhouse compound movement, renowned for building overall strength and muscle. However, when it comes to targeting the quads specifically, they do fall a bit short due to their primary emphasis on the posterior chain. Unlike the hamstrings and glutes, deadlifts don't provide as much direct activation for the quads. Therefore, I'm placing deadlifts in the C tier for quad activation. Bosu ball squats. Oh boy, they're like the pineapple on pizza of leg day. Sure, they might have their niche, like if you're rehabbing an injury and need to work on those stabilizing muscles, but for the rest of us, it's a head scratcher. I mean, unless you enjoy the challenge of balancing on a wobbly surface while you try to squat, there are definitely better ways to target those quads. So, I'm dropping this one straight into the D tier. Step ups. Great for giving your glutes a little boost, but when it comes to quads, they're like getting a high five from a T-Rex. Kind of awkward and not quite hitting the mark. This exercise doesn't quite give you that deep stretch that fires up those quad muscles. So, they're landing a solid C tier spot on our list. Step-ups are good for variety, but if you're aiming to pump up those quads, you might want to step up your game elsewhere. The hamstrings and glutes work hand in hand, which is why I'm ranking the best and worst exercises for both muscle groups in one chart. Let's kick things off with the first exercise on our list, the barbell squat. This move is fantastic for developing strong quads and glutes. However, it's not the best for targeting the hamstrings. While it does engage the hamstrings to some extent, the focus is primarily on the quads, which means it doesn't fully activate the hamstrings like some other exercises do. That's why I'm placing the barbell squat in the C tier. Next up, we have the Bulgarian split squat. I know many of you dread this exercise, and you might be cursing me for saying this, but it's actually one of the best moves for targeting the glutes and hamstrings. Here's a pro tip to make it more comfortable and effective. Try performing it on the Smith machine. You can adjust your stance to target different muscles. Placing your front foot farther away from the bench will engage your glutes more, while bringing it closer will shift the focus to your quads. For an added challenge, step onto an elevated surface or plate with your front foot. This increases the range of motion, adding more tension to the muscles and promoting better hypertrophy without needing to go super heavy. The Bulgarian split squat is landing in the S tier. Let's dive into the world of deadlifts. There are 5 main variations of this powerful exercise, each with its unique focus. Number 1 is standard deadlift. This classic move involves lifting the weight from the floor with an emphasis on the concentric phase, without much focus on the eccentric part. This variation is really good for overall strength development, but when it comes to glute and hamstring activation, it falls short compared to other exercises. I'm placing it in the C section. Number 2 is stiff leg deadlift. Similar to the standard deadlift, but with the bar positioned slightly further from the shins and closer to the top of the foot. This variation puts more emphasis on the hamstrings and lower back by reducing the knee bend. It is landing in the B section. Number 3. Romanian deadlift. Unlike the standard version, the Romanian deadlift begins with a focus on the eccentric or the lowering phase. You keep the barbell close to your shins throughout the movement, maximizing the stretch in your hamstrings and glutes. This makes it a level up from the previous variation, and that is why I'm placing it in the A tier. Number 4. Stiff Romanian deadlift. This is a variation of the Romanian deadlift where the bar is kept away from the shins and closer to the top of the foot, similar to the stiff leg deadlift. This adjustment increases the stretch in the hamstrings while minimizing knee involvement. Normally, this exercise deserves to be in the S tier compared to the previous variations. However, I'll be biased here and put it in the A category, simply because in my opinion, it is a risky movement when it comes to the lower back. Last on our list of deadlifts is number 5, the sumo deadlift. This involves a wider stance with your toes pointed slightly outward, resembling a sumo wrestler stance. The hands grip the bar inside the legs rather than the outside. This variation shifts the focus to the inner thighs, glutes, and quads, while also reducing strain on the lower back. It is especially effective for lifters with limited hip mobility or who want to target different muscle groups. When it comes to glute and hamstring activation, this variation is the worst, and it is going straight to the D tier. Alright, let's wrap up the deadlifts and shift our focus to the seated hamstring curls. While this exercise doesn't officially activate the glutes, it's one of the best moves you can do for targeting the hamstrings. Just make sure to set up the machine correctly to maximize your results and get the most out of each rep. I'm placing this exercise in the GOAT section S rank. The brother of the seated hamstring curl is the laying variation. I will keep it short for this one and put it in the S tier. I recommend every one of you add both of these exercises to your leg day workouts. The muscle activation and stretch you get from this exercise is fantastic. Next on the list, we have the hyperextension. This exercise primarily targets the lower back muscles, which are responsible for extending the spine. The glutes also get a good workout, especially if you squeeze them at the top of the movement, while the hamstrings assist with the hip extension throughout. However, since the glutes and hamstrings aren't the primary focus of this exercise, I'm placing it in the B tier. On the other hand, the reverse hyperextension primarily targets the glutes, especially at the top of the movement. The hamstrings are also engaged, assisting with hip extension throughout the exercise. While the lower back muscles are involved, they are typically less stressed compared to traditional hyperextensions. This makes the reverse hyperextension an excellent choice for those looking to build glute strength while minimizing strain on the spine. And that is the reason it is a level up from the previous variation, which places it in the A tier of our list. Alright, let's move on to the Nordic hamstring curl. Don't let the fact that it's a bodyweight exercise fool you. It's actually quite challenging when done with proper form. The key is to focus on controlling your movement and maintaining slow, deliberate momentum. While it might not be the most beginner-friendly exercise, it's incredibly effective for building hamstring strength, which is why I'm placing it in the A section. The glute ham raise shares similarities with the Nordic hamstring curl, but studies suggest it offers slightly better activation for the glutes and hamstrings. It places a strong emphasis on the eccentric lowering phase, making it excellent for building hamstring strength and reducing the risk of injury. It is landing in the S tier next to the other GOATs. Ready for another top-ranked move? Let me introduce you to the barbell glute bridge. Although this exercise is often associated with women, don't let that discourage you. It's incredibly effective for everyone, regardless of gender. Hypertrophy doesn't discriminate between men and women. Everyone can benefit from building strong glutes. To take your results to the next level, consider performing the barbell glute bridge on a Smith machine. This equipment helps you maintain perfect form throughout the movement and allows for consistent, controlled reps, which can significantly enhance your gains. By keeping your upper body stable and focusing solely on driving your hips upward, you'll be able to maximize the activation of your glutes. Given its effectiveness and versatility, the barbell glute bridge unquestionably deserves a spot in the S tier. The barbell glute bridge and the hip thrust are similar exercises, but they have some differences in terms of execution and muscle activation. The hip thrust offers a greater range of motion since your shoulders are elevated on a bench, leading to more intense glute activation compared to the glute bridge. On the other hand, the barbell glute bridge is performed on the floor, which limits the range of motion but still effectively targets the glutes and hamstrings. The difference in body position influences the depth and effectiveness of the glute contraction. Both exercises are fantastic when it comes to muscle activation, and this is why the hip thrust is also going in the S tier. Glute kickbacks are a solid exercise, especially since the cables provide constant tension throughout the entire movement. However, achieving perfect form can be challenging for many people, and if you don't maintain proper technique, the exercise can become ineffective. That's why I'm placing it in the B section. It has great potential, but only if executed correctly. A better alternative to this exercise is the butt blaster. This machine makes performing the movement easier and can provide excellent results. The only downside is that not all gyms have this equipment. However, if you do have access to it, I highly recommend giving it a try. It's definitely worthy of an A tier ranking. One glute exercise that is performed by a lot of women is the donkey kick. This move is not necessarily the best option when it comes to glute and hamstring development. The donkey kick primarily isolates the glutes, but it doesn't engage the hamstrings as effectively. Additionally, its range of motion and muscle activation can be limited compared to other exercises. In my book, this exercise is far from great, and it is going in the never to be seen again category D. The next exercise is the step-ups. You don't see people often doing this move in the gym, but if you do, please go and give them a gentle slap. The movement primarily targets the quads and can sometimes limit the engagement of the glutes and hamstrings due to the nature of the step and height adjustments. For me, this is a D-ranked move. Alright, now that we've tackled the legs, it's time to shift gears and focus on the upper body. Let's kick things off with the forearms, an often underestimated muscle group that's essential for overall strength and grip. You can't have a well-built physique without training your forearms, or can you? Many exercises target your forearms indirectly, which is why most people neglect this muscle group on arm day. I definitely agree with this sentiment. However, if you truly want to build impressive forearms, you need to train them separately, just like any other area of the body. For me personally, this was a game changer, and I saw significant results after incorporating targeted workouts for this muscle group into my routine. The forearm is divided into two main compartments, the anterior and the posterior. In simple terms, these are the front and back muscles of the forearm. The anterior muscles are responsible for wrist and finger flexion, while the posterior muscles handle wrist and finger extension. To build well-developed forearms, it's essential to target both areas effectively, and that's exactly what we're going to do right now. First on the list, we have the farmer's walk. Besides the forearms, this exercise is a multitasker that works your quads, hamstrings, glutes, calves, upper back, traps, lats, abs, biceps, and triceps. As you can tell, this definitely shifts some focus away from the forearms. Additionally, to make this more effective, you need to go really heavy, which increases the risk of lower back injuries, especially if you end up leaning slightly to one side. While it's not a terrible exercise, it's certainly not the best for targeting the forearms, so I'm placing it in the B tier. Next up are reverse grip barbell curls. This exercise is fantastic for developing your forearms and enhancing overall arm strength. By using an overhand grip, you not only target the brachioradialis, a key muscle in the forearm, but also engage the biceps in a different way. I'm putting it in the GOAT section S tier. What about the Easy Bar reverse curl? It's similar to the standard barbell curl, but I personally prefer the Easy Bar because it offers a more comfortable grip. This helps me focus better on mind-muscle connection. For me, it's an S tier exercise again. The dumbbell hammer curl is another excellent choice for building your forearms. Personally, I find that performing exercises one arm at a time is often more effective, as it allows for a better mind-muscle connection. This increased focus can lead to improved muscle activation and growth. However, it's worth noting that this move also targets the biceps significantly, which makes it less ideal as an isolation exercise for the forearms. For this reason, we're placing the dumbbell hammer curl in the A tier. Here are a few tips on how you can make these three exercises better. Lean against a wall to stabilize your body, and use resistance bands to maintain constant tension throughout the entire movement. When I started implementing these simple tips, I saw a significant boost in my gains. If you find using resistance bands awkward, you can switch to reverse grip curls on a cable machine. Almost every exercise performed on a cable machine offers an advantage over its regular counterpart because the cables provide constant tension throughout the entire movement. This consistent pressure helps enhance muscle activation and effectiveness. Once again, S tier next to the other top dogs. But, oh boy, the same can't be said for the dumbbell wrist twist. This exercise does nothing in terms of forearm muscle activation. The wrist position limits the amount of weight you can use, and even with heavier weights, it's unlikely to yield significant results. Because of its minimal effectiveness, it's heading straight into the junk section D tier. What about the reverse grip preacher curls? I know this one might stir up some debate, but hear me out. You already know that the standing variation is a top tier, and it seems logical to assume that the seated variation would be just as effective. However, that's not necessarily the case. The preacher curl alters the angle of your palms, elbows, and shoulders, making the bar harder to grip and placing extra pressure on your fingertips. This isn't ideal for forearm activation. Effective forearm training relies on a strong grip. If you can't squeeze effectively, you'll limit muscle engagement. So, while the preacher curl has its benefits, it's not the top choice for maximizing forearm activation. And that, my friends, is the reason it's going in the B tier. Next, let's talk about the behind the back wrist curl. While it offers good potential for progressive overload, the range of motion isn't ideal, and the overall feel of the movement can be a bit awkward, at least for me. Additionally, individuals with larger glutes might struggle to achieve the correct form, and for some, it might even be impossible. Muscle activation is also not ideal. For these reasons, we're placing it in the C tier. Kettlebell flips are a decent exercise for building your forearms. The unique design of the kettlebell, with its handle, allows for a strong grip and encourages intense squeezing, which is excellent for forearm activation. Here's a pro tip. Avoid flipping the kettlebell all the way to the side. Instead, stop just before it touches the surface you're working on. This slight adjustment will lead to greater muscle activation and more effective results. The reason I'm placing it in the B section is that many people might experience wrist pain with this exercise. My all-time favorite forearm exercise is the wrist roller. If you perform it slowly and with control, you'll feel an intense burn in your forearms. I highly recommend giving it a try if you haven't already. If your gym doesn't have a wrist roller, you can easily make one. Just take the straight bar for tricep pushdowns from the cable machine, attach a resistance band to it, tie a weighted plate at the end, and you're good to go. Ensure your hands are in a T-Rex position for optimal muscle activation, or you can simply rest your hands on a Smith machine for support. The goal is to tire out your forearms, not your shoulders, so hand positioning is key. Personally, I place the Smith machine bar around shoulder height and rest my hand over it while performing the exercise. This approach isolates your forearms completely. We are putting this on the top of our list in the S tier. I assume almost all of you have tried a gripper at least once. It's a really convenient way to train your grip strength and forearms because you can simply put the gripper in your pocket and take it everywhere. But are they really effective? Yes and no. While they do provide some muscle activation, the problem lies in the negative part of the movement, where there is virtually zero resistance. The gripper mainly targets a small part of your forearm, while the rest doesn't get much activation. These limitations place it in the B section of our list. Can you build huge forearms with bodyweight exercises? Let's find out. Let's start with rope climbing. The key is to limit the use of your legs and rely solely on your arms. This approach significantly increases the pressure on your forearms. In terms of muscle activation, I'm placing this exercise in the B tier. Next up, we have the dead hang. This is a great beginner-friendly movement, yet it's also used by many advanced athletes. A pro tip, use towels or wraps while hanging. This will significantly increase the challenge and lead to greater muscle activation in your forearms. Not to mention that it's perfect for decompressing your spine. This exercise definitely deserves its spot in the A tier. The finger push-ups. Why on earth would someone do this? Forearm activation is close to zero, and there are minimal benefits for other muscle groups as well. The exercise primarily targets the fingers rather than providing substantial activation for the forearms or other upper body muscles. Additionally, it places undue stress on the fingers and joints without delivering effective results for overall strength or muscle growth. Seriously, what's the end goal here? To smash a car with your finger? Given its limited effectiveness and potential for injury, it's clearly headed into the D section. The next method to develop massive forearms and enhance overall grip strength isn't just an exercise, it's a sport: rock climbing. Participating in non-competitive rock climbing is an excellent way to build forearm strength while having a great time. It's not only effective, but also incredibly enjoyable. However, it's important to train in specialized climbing gyms where you can practice safely and use proper equipment. Avoid climbing random rocks you encounter on the road, as they may pose safety risks. Given its effectiveness and the fun factor, rock climbing definitely earns a spot in the A tier. The Zottman curl is a multitasker that doesn't effectively target either the forearms or the biceps properly. While it combines elements of a standard bicep grip and a reverse curl, this hybrid approach means it doesn't fully isolate or engage either muscle group as effectively as dedicated exercises. Specifically for the forearms, the rotational component of the Zottman curl reduces the continuous tension needed for maximum forearm activation, making it less effective compared to other focused forearm exercises. We are putting it in the C tier. To develop a well-rounded forearm routine, it's crucial to include both wrist flexion and wrist extension exercises. Here are two excellent variations that you can incorporate. Dumbbell wrist curl. For this exercise, position your forearm on a bench to ensure proper support and isolation. This helps target the wrist flexors effectively. Bench braced wrist extension. This exercise is equally effective in targeting the wrist extensors. By bracing your forearm on a bench, you can focus on the extension movement and achieve optimal muscle engagement. Both of these exercises are S tier and provide comprehensive forearm activation, ensuring balanced development and strength. Now let's turn our attention to a muscle group that many of you love and aspire to develop: The biceps. Our biceps have two heads, the long and the short head. To achieve that impressive 3D biceps look, you need to know how to effectively target both heads. Don't worry, I've got you covered. Let's kick things off with a true classic, the standing dumbbell curl. It offers excellent muscle activation and it's perfect for everyone, from beginners to seasoned pros. Not to mention that it is a great fit for gym and home workouts. This is why it deserves its spot in the A tier. The incline dumbbell curl is a level up from the standing variation. But why is that the case? The incline bench puts your muscles in a deep stretch, and the tension you experience with this movement is incredible for muscle growth and hypertrophy. It's definitely an S tier move in any bicep workout routine. Next up, we have the dumbbell hammer curls. This exercise requires a lot of muscle activation from your forearms, which means that you can't isolate your biceps completely. While it does provide excellent benefits for overall arm development and grip strength, it doesn't target the biceps as effectively as other exercises. That is why I'm putting it in the B tier. Despite this, dumbbell hammer curls are still a valuable addition to any workout routine, especially for those looking to build balanced and functional arm strength. However, when it comes to maximizing muscle activation, the rope cable hammer curl edges out the standing hammer curl. The constant tension provided by the cables throughout the entire range of motion enhances muscle engagement, making it better for hypertrophy. This exercise earns its spot in the A section. Ever tried the standing barbell curl? It's easily one of the top bicep exercises for maximizing muscle activation. Here's a pro tip. Opt for an easy bar instead of a straight bar. The easy bar not only improves grip, but also helps reduce shoulder and wrist strain, making your curls smoother and more effective. This small adjustment can make a significant difference in your workout experience. With its combination of effectiveness and comfort, I'm rating the standing barbell curl in the A category. But how about the close grip easy bar curl? In my opinion, it is slightly better than a regular grip variation, but pretty much both of them will give you the same result. In my book, this again is A tier. Let's move on to the reverse dumbbell and barbell curls. It's important to note that these exercises heavily engage your forearms, which limits the isolation of the biceps. For those aiming for maximum bicep activation, focusing on exercises that minimize forearm involvement might be more beneficial. This is why I'm placing both of these moves in the C tier. One of my favorite bicep exercises is the Bayesian curl. Using cables provides an incredible stretch for the muscles, but the form is crucial here. To get the most out of this movement, perfect your technique. Start by placing one foot forward and make sure that you also lean forward with your body. Focus on establishing a strong mind-muscle connection while performing this movement. This exercise earns its place in the GOAT section, or the S tier, for its ability to fully engage and stretch the biceps, making it a staple for anyone serious about arm development. While we're on the cable machine, let's discuss the crucifix curl. This exercise provides a good stretch for the biceps, utilizing the cable's constant tension. However, it's important to note that maintaining proper form is key to avoiding unnecessary strain on the wrists and elbows. A lot of beginners have a really hard time performing this move with perfect form, which leads to less muscle activation. Also, this exercise doesn't target both heads of the biceps evenly. This doesn't make it a bad exercise selection, but it's certainly not the best. This is why we're putting it in the A tier of our list. Now, let's dive into the preacher curl family. You can perform this exercise in 3 main variations, with dumbbells, an easy bar, or on a machine. Right off the bat, I want to say that all 3 variations offer a deep stretch, making them excellent for muscle activation. But let's break down the differences between them. The dumbbell variation is fantastic because it allows you to train each arm individually, leading to better muscle balance and activation. That's why it earns a spot in the S tier. With the easy bar, you can't train each arm separately, which is why I'm placing it in one level below the dumbbell variation in the A section. It's still effective, but it doesn't offer the same level of individual arm focus. The machine variation of this exercise is somewhat controversial. Gyms offer various machines, but some have poor range of motion, potentially limiting their effectiveness. Therefore, I'm placing it in the A tier category. Can you build huge biceps with bodyweight exercises? Let's find out. The Australian chin-up is one of the top calisthenics exercises for the biceps. However, compared to all the weightlifting options, it's not the best out there. Without a doubt, it offers great stretch and muscle activation, but the main limitation is progressive overload. While using a weighted vest is a great way to add resistance, this limitation places it in the B section of our ranking. If this was a calisthenics video, I was going to rank it higher. The next bodyweight exercise on the list is the chin-up. This is one of the best compound movements, period. It works your entire upper body, putting a lot of focus on those biceps. However, its biggest benefit, comprehensive muscle activation can also be a limitation for those who prefer isolating exercises. Despite this, it remains one of the most effective and accessible ways to build your biceps. Progressive overload is easy to achieve. Beginners can start with resistance bands, while advanced athletes can use a weighted belt or vest. That's why I'm placing it in the A tier. But I can't say the same about the biceps push-up. Even in the calisthenics world, this exercise is just confusing to me. The muscle activation for the biceps is minimal at best. All push-ups primarily target the shoulders, chest, and triceps. That's why this exercise is going at the bottom of the list in the D section. Okay, let's move into the weightlifting world and talk about the straight bar cable curl. You already know that everything with cables is great because they provide constant pressure towards the full movement. That's why they're definitely in the GOAT section, S tier. Time to move on to the next exercise on our list, the Zottman curl. In the first part of the lift, the concentric phase, your forearms are supinated, which maximizes the biceps activation. However, the issue arises during the lowering part of the lift, the eccentric phase, where bicep activation decreases. Because of this, I'm placing the Zottman curl in the B section. Oh boy, the waiter curl. I know I might stir up some controversy here, but I can't skip over this one. Honestly, I find this exercise a bit hard to swallow. There's nothing I like about it. From the lackluster muscle activation to the overall awkward feeling and performance, it's earning its spot in the C tier, where even the waiter might give it a skeptical look. Let's move on to the spider curl, an excellent exercise for isolating and targeting the biceps effectively. The bench ensures proper form throughout the movement. Whether you choose dumbbells or a barbell, both variations offer great benefits and a deep stretch. In my opinion, this exercise deserves a top tier ranking. I'm giving it a solid S. Many people like to argue about which exercises are best, but can we make less effective exercises better or improve already great ones? The short answer is yes. Here are some tips. For better stability and muscle work, lean against a wall during exercises to avoid swinging your body. This keeps your form right and makes each move count. Adding a resistance band to your weights helps keep tension on your muscles all the way through, which makes them work harder and grow stronger. Try doing exercises one arm at a time when you can. This helps fix any muscle differences and make sure both sides of your body get equally strong. By focusing on one arm, you can perfect your moves and get the most out of each muscle squeeze. These simple changes can lead to better muscle work and results. It's time to dive into one of my personal favorite muscle groups, the triceps. Before we jump into the rankings, I want to give you a heads up. In the next parts of the video, you'll hear a different team member's voice. I was under the weather for a few days, so Austin stepped up to record the next few voiceovers. Our OG subscribers are already familiar with him, but for those of you who are new, it might sound a bit different. I just want to mention it so you're not caught off guard. I'm passing the mic to Austin now.
Did you know that triceps make up a whopping 70% of your arm's total muscle mass, leaving the remaining 30% to the biceps? With the ocean of tricep exercises out there, it's easy to feel like a lost sailor. Our triceps have 3 heads, a long head, a lateral head, and a medial head. For you to achieve that 3D triceps look, you need to target all 3 heads properly. And that's exactly what we're going to do now. Let's kick things off with the skull crusher. Scientifically, it's hailed as one of the top tricep exercises, targeting all 3 heads of the muscle. There are 2 variations here, lowering the bar towards your forehead or behind your head. The second option provides a deeper stretch and muscle activation. You can use an easy bar or dumbbell. The choice is yours. Now here's the scoop. While the skull crusher reigns as a triceps titan, it's not without its challenges. Many beginners struggle to nail perfect form, risking unnecessary stress on their elbows and potential injuries. That's why, in my humble opinion, it earns its place in the A category. Meet the cousin of the skull crusher, the dumbbell overhead extension. Now, while this move can offer solid muscle activation, let's talk about the risk to reward ratio. Personally, I find it leans a bit too much towards risk. This exercise puts too much unnecessary stress on your joints, which can lead to injuries. Don't get me wrong, the exercise offers perfect muscle activation, but in my opinion, there are better ones out there. I'm giving it a B. The better variation of the dumbbell overhead extension is the standing overhead cable extension. This is the crown jewel of the triceps building kingdom for the long head. It offers a deep stretch on your muscles while simultaneously putting significant tension on the triceps due to the constant pressure from the cables. A slightly better variation here, in my opinion, is the leaning overhead cable extension. You can also perform both variations with one arm at a time for better muscle isolation. When possible, I always prefer doing exercises one arm at a time. This helps me with a lot of mind-to-muscle connection. I am definitely ranking them as S-tier movements. I bet you've been eagerly anticipating the close grip bench press, right? Well, hold on to your weights because here's the scoop. While it's a solid move, it's not exactly a triceps isolation superstar. Nope, this exercise is a bit of a multitasker, targeting your chest and shoulders too. Now don't get me wrong, it's not a bad exercise by any means, but when it comes to triceps isolation, it's not exactly leading the charge. It's still in the game, just not taking home the gold medal. That's why we're slotting it into the B category. Let's dive into dips. No, not the nacho kind, but the exercise. Now, if this were a calisthenics video, dips would likely be stealing the spotlight. But since we're exploring both bodyweight and weightlifting exercises, I've got to be real with you. Dips are landing in the B section. Here's the deal. Just like the close grip bench press, dips are a bit of a multitasker. While they definitely work your triceps, they're also targeting your shoulders and chest. If you still decide to do them, make sure you keep your body weight upright to put more pressure on the triceps. Leaning forward will target more of your chest. While we're diving into bodyweight exercises, we can't overlook diamond push-ups. Let's keep this one brief because, you guessed it, it shares similar limitations to dips. That's why it's landing in the B tier. Moving on to the machine tricep pushdown. I know that not every gym has this machine, but for those who have access to it, it's a solid exercise. You can achieve good progressive overload with it. The machine's stability makes it perfect for both beginners and advanced athletes, helping you build a strong mind-to-muscle connection. This one is going in the A section. Bench dips are also a widely spread calisthenics exercise. However, the lack of progressive overload and minimal triceps activation makes this exercise a miss for me. That's why it's landing in the D section. Next up on the list are lying crossover extensions. Absolute garbage of an exercise. Never even think about doing it. It gets a hard D next to the bench dips. Alright, let's move on to an absolute classic, the triceps pushdown. This exercise is a staple in many workout routines, and for good reason. Here you have the option to use a straight bar, V-bar, or rope attachment, each offering a unique twist to the movement. Personally, I find all of them effective, but I have a soft spot for the rope attachment. The rope allows for a greater range of motion and better isolation of the triceps, giving you that extra squeeze at the bottom of the movement. A pro tip, switch between all three variations for maximum gains. This not only keeps your workouts fresh and exciting, but also ensures you're targeting muscles from different angles, promoting balanced development and preventing plateaus. Incorporating variety in your exercises is key to keeping your muscles guessing and growing. And here's the kicker, they all earn an S tier rating from me. Whether you prefer the solid feel of the straight bar, the comfortable grip of the V-bar, or the versatility of the rope, you can't go wrong. Each attachment brings its own benefits to the table, making the triceps pushdown a must-have in every program. Moving on to the dumbbell triceps kickback. The issue with this exercise is that you only achieve significant triceps activation at the top of the movement, which doesn't make it ideal for muscle building. That's why it's going in the C tier. A better alternative to the dumbbell triceps kickback is the cable kickback. The cable machine's rope applies constant pressure on your triceps, addressing the issue found in the dumbbell kickback. The significant improvement elevates the movement to the S tier. Next, we have the cable crossbody tricep extension. This is a great exercise for targeting the long head of the triceps. The only drawback is that most people don't know how to perform this exercise with correct form, which leads to less muscle activation. However, despite this limitation, it still lands in the A category. Alright, it's time for me to share my personal favorite of all time tricep exercise, and that is the elevated bench cable tricep extension. This isn't your everyday exercise, but trust me, once you try it, you'll fall in love with it. The only hiccup is the setup, especially the first time you do it. But after a few sets, you'll get the hang of it. The gains you'll achieve are absolutely worth the initial hassle. I'm placing it right at the top in the GOAT section S tier. We're all familiar with that machine tucked away in the corner of every gym. Yes, I'm talking about the tricep extension machine. It sits there quietly, often overlooked, waiting for someone to give it a try. The path of this machine isn't really ideal for optimal triceps activation. Unlike free weights or cable systems that allow for a more natural and adjustable range of motion, the tricep extension machine tends to lock you into a fixed path. This rigidity can limit the engagement of your triceps and even put unnecessary strain on your elbows. Moreover, the seated position often required by this machine can reduce the effectiveness of the exercise, as it doesn't allow for the same kind of core stabilization and muscle coordination you get from standing or more dynamic movements. In my experience, this results in a workout that feels less intense and, frankly, less satisfying. That's why I don't recommend it and why it lands in the C tier. There are simply much better options out there that offer more freedom, better muscle activation, and a more effective workout overall.
Alright, we're back with my voice, but we will do the voice change a few more times during this video. Now, let's move on to the next muscle group on our list, the shoulders. Back to you, Austin.
Okay, so our shoulders have 3 heads: the anterior deltoids, front delts, lateral deltoids, mid delts, and posterior deltoids. You guessed it, it's your back delts. To achieve that 3D shoulder look, you've got to hit all 3 heads. Lucky for you, I'm about to break it down step by step. First off, let's dive into the reverse fly. It's a staple in the shoulder workouts, aiming to hit those rear delts hard. But here's the catch. When you grab those heavier dumbbells, your range of motion takes a hit. Ever struggled to extend your arms fully? Yeah, that's the downside. Less range means less muscle activation and time under tension, which is not ideal. While it's a solid exercise, it's not exactly king of the hill, so we'll give it a respectable B on our ranking scale. Now let's tackle the dumbbell cheat lateral raise, a move that zeroes in on those middle delts. It might sound a bit unfamiliar to some of you, but here's the deal. You're grabbing slightly heavier dumbbells than usual and adding a touch of momentum to your reps. Sure, it's tempting to sneak in those extra reps with a bit of momentum, but let's be real. We're not about half-hearted efforts here. So we're sliding this one right into the C tier faster than you can say, cheater, cheater, pumpkin eater. Ever heard of the press out? It's like the 90s sitcom reboot of shoulder exercises. Decent, but with some limitations. We're talking range of motion so limited it makes your grandma's Sunday afternoon walk look like a marathon. It is a good entry exercise for beginners who want to target the front delt, but it is far away from the best. Stick it in the C tier and let's move on, shall we? If someone asked me to choose just one shoulder exercise for the rest of my life, it would hands down be the barbell overhead press. This compound move is a powerhouse, hitting all your shoulder heads while giving your triceps and chest a little love too. When it comes to targeting those shoulders, this exercise takes the crown. It's an absolute must, so let's give it the honor it deserves by sliding it into the S tier. Just remember, keep that form tighter than your shoelaces. Now, maybe you're asking, what about the seated dumbbell shoulder press? This exercise is a true all-rounder, targeting multiple areas of your deltoids and serving as a fantastic overall shoulder builder. What sets it apart from the barbell press is the ability to independently control each dumbbell, forcing your stabilizing muscles to kick into high gear and potentially delivering superior results. However, it's crucial to execute this move with precision to avoid injury. While you may not be able to lift extremely heavy weights, this exercise is a powerhouse until you hit that wall. Until then, it's a must-have in your routine. That's why we're placing it once again in the S tier, because let's face it, it's an absolute GOAT. Alright, next up, let's chat about the Cuban press. It's akin to the roller coaster ride of shoulder exercises. Sure, it's got its thrills, but that internal rotation on the descent? Not exactly shoulder friendly, my friends. Plus, the shoulder activation you're getting here is mainly from the pressing movement at the top. The rest is just fluff when it comes to shoulder activation. The risk to reward ratio? Let's just say it's firmly in D tier territory, where the gains are as elusive as Bigfoot sightings. Something else that earns a spot in the D section is the upright row. This exercise is quite harmful to the shoulders and can lead to injuries. While it does target your shoulders, the risk to reward ratio just doesn't stack up in my opinion. Can you sculpt 3D shoulders using just your body weight? The straightforward answer, yes. And the key? The handstand. But here's the catch. If you're merely kicking up into a banana handstand for a few seconds, you won't achieve much muscle activation. Now, if you're banging out wall handstand push-ups, well, my friends, that's a game changer. This vaults the exercise right to the top of our list, landing it squarely in the S section. Let's move to behind the neck press, the forbidden fruit of shoulder exercises. It's a classic, no doubt, but it's like trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. Trust me folks, it's a risk you don't want to take. C tier with a capital C because ain't nobody got time for shoulder shenanigans. Next up we have leaning cable lateral raises, and it's hands down one of my favorite exercises. Why opt for cables over dumbbells, you ask? It's simple. With cables you maintain constant tension throughout the entire movement. Dumbbells, on the other hand, lose that muscle activation at the bottom. That's why I'm putting cable lateral raises in the GOAT section, S, and dumbbell lateral raises in the A section. But hey, don't get me wrong, dumbbell lateral raises are also great exercises, and it deserves its spot in the A section. I want to share one more fantastic bodyweight exercise that will sculpt those defined shoulders you're after. Which is this exercise? Well, it is the ring pike push-up. We're placing it in the A section. Every time I spot a guy at the gym busting out plate front raises, a part of me dies inside. Sure, if you're training for the new truck simulator, knock yourself out. But if you're not, steer clear of this exercise. It's a solid D tier move in my book. Then we have the reverse pec deck. It's an amazing exercise for the rear delt, and you can't really go wrong with it. This is why it goes straight into the A tier. And speaking of the rear delt category, let's not overlook the rope face pull. Here's a pro tip, try using 2 ropes for an added challenge. If you're new to this exercise and need more stability, you can even do it on the ground. Trust me, this one's a game changer. Let's slot it into the S tier. One more exercise that tops our list is the Z press. It's a powerhouse exercise that reigns supreme when it comes to sculpting those deltoids. I highly urge everyone to incorporate it into their routine. Without a shadow of a doubt, the Z press deserves a spot in the coveted S category.
I just know you guys missed my voice, so here I am again. Now, let's shift gears to the next muscle category on our list, the chest. And with that, back to you, Austin.
Chest muscles are divided into 3 areas: lower, middle, and upper. To achieve that 3D chest look, you need to target all 3 areas effectively, and that's exactly what we're going to do right now. Let's kick things off with a lower chest exercise, the decline bench press. But before you dive into this move, let's address a couple of downsides. Firstly, there's the limited range of motion, and secondly, the issue of improper form, which can put your shoulders at risk. Despite these drawbacks, it's still an effective exercise, earning its place in the A tier category. Just don't put the bar over your neck. But hold up, what about the decline dumbbell bench press? Here's the deal, it's not exactly a walk in the park to set yourself up for this one. Without a gym bro, things can get a bit dicey, especially when handling heavy dumbbells. There's a high risk of swinging the weights around just to get into the right position, which can spell trouble. That's why we're slotting it into the C section of our rankings. Let's shift our attention to the mid-chest and talk about one of the OG exercises, the bench press. This classic move primarily targets the mid-chest, but also engages the lower and upper areas effectively. If you leave your ego at the door and focus on proper form, this exercise easily earns a spot in the S tier. The cousin of the bench press, the dumbbell bench press, offers all of the benefits of its counterpart with an added advantage: a deep stretch at the bottom of the movement. But as mentioned, getting into the right position with the dumbbells can be tricky. This slight inconvenience is the only reason why I'm ranking it in the A tier. When it comes to the upper chest, most people swear by the incline bench press. And they're absolutely right. This OG exercise needs no introduction, offering all of the benefits of the flat bench, plus it provides increased muscle activation in your upper chest. It's definitely an S tier exercise. The incline dumbbell press offers again the same benefits, plus a better stretch. By now, you already know what I'm gonna say. It can be difficult to set up. That's why we're placing it in the A category. Can you sculpt an impressive chest using just your body weight? Absolutely. Dips are a fantastic option, and they are one of my favorite exercises. Beginners can start with assisted or resistance band dips, while more advanced lifters can add weight for extra resistance. But please don't use weighted backpacks because you will get injured. Stick to a weighted belt or vest. And of course, there's always the classic bodyweight dip, which is also perfect. This exercise earns an S tier ranking. Another standout S tier bodyweight exercise for me is the push-up. You can't go wrong with it because it's effective for both beginners and advanced athletes. Just avoid using weighted backpacks or plates on your back. If you want to add resistance to your push-ups, opt for a weighted vest instead. Some chest exercises practically scream injury, and one of them is the bench chest fly. Now, this movement places unnecessary stress on the shoulders and also increases the risk of a chest muscle tear. Moreover, the muscle activation during this exercise is subpar at best. That's why we're placing it at the bottom of our list in the D section. A better alternative here would be the cable fly. With this exercise, you get a consistent and effective stretch in your muscles, along with plenty of variations to target different parts of the chest. For me, this is an A tier exercise. The pec deck is similar to the cable fly, but with more stability, making it easier to establish a mind-to-muscle connection. Properly adjusting the machine to your height is key to getting the most out of this exercise. Personally, I always feel a crazy pump after this exercise, making it one of my favorites. I'm rating it as a GOAT, S tier. Next up, we have the landmine press. If you're aiming for better muscle activation, I recommend trying the kneeling version with both hands. However, the challenge here is that many people tend to target their shoulders rather than their chest. It's not necessarily a bad exercise, but it's not ideal for chest isolation, and that's why we're placing it in the B section. Let's move on to the standing cable press. Honestly, I'm not a fan of this exercise. It's challenging to maintain proper form, and even if you do, I don't believe it's an effective muscle building exercise. It's a hard pass from me, definitely landing in the D category. On the flip side, one exercise that I absolutely love is the chest press. Whether you're just starting or a seasoned athlete, it's a timeless classic that never fails. It has every benefit of the regular bench press, but the stability is a huge benefit here. You can just zone out and focus on your chest mind to muscle connection. It's a solid S tier exercise for me. If I have to pick the worst of the worst exercises, it's got to be the plate press. It's like an influencer made exercise that's totally pointless. Definitely in the D tier for me. Now I want to talk about the Smith machine, which is a place where you can do many chest exercises. Well, I wouldn't necessarily say it's a bad machine, but it's not exactly a gold star either. The position you're locked into isn't ideal for muscle activation and could lead to injuries. I'd put it in the B category. The dumbbell pullover is a tricky one. Personally, I've never quite understood this exercise and never felt it in my chest. Plus, I've never seen Chris Bumstead doing this on chest day, so yeah, that's a D.
Love it or hate it? We're switching back to my voice to introduce the next muscle group, the back. Now, let's pass it back over to Austin.
Red Bull won't give you wings, but these exercise selections definitely will. Our ultimate aim? To give you a lineup of top tier exercises that'll sculpt a back so strong and wide, you'll have people doing double takes. Let's kick things off with the deadlift. While it's a powerful compound movement, it's not exactly a magic bullet for your back gains. It's more of a leg-focused exercise. And for beginners, the risk of injury outweighs the benefits. That's why it's landing squarely in the C section. A similar movement, but with a lot more potential for your back gains, is the barbell row. This is a better option than the deadlift, but it still has its weak points. When you're performing this exercise, you activate a lot of stabilizing muscles like your calves, core, legs, and glutes. This means that it is hard to make a strong mind-to-muscle connection with your back. While it is a solid exercise, it's not the pinnacle of back training, earning it a solid B tier spot. The dumbbell version of this exercise is equally effective, but it comes with a slight drawback. Eventually, you'll hit a plateau when you max out the available dumbbells in your gym. However, for most individuals, this won't be an immediate concern, making it a minor downside. Thus, it earns a solid spot in the B tier. Next up, we have the T-bar row. If you're a gym rat, you've probably seen legendary bodybuilders like Ronnie Coleman and Arnold Schwarzenegger perform this exercise. This is a solid B tier exercise. The reason I'm giving it a B is because it's a compound movement that involves multiple muscle groups. However, chest-supported rows offer all of the benefits of the freestanding T-bar row, with the added advantage of a more stable and secure feel. This stability enhances the mind-to-muscle connection, allowing for better muscle activation. It's an absolute beast of a back builder and undoubtedly deserves an S-tier rating for its effectiveness. Alright, it's time to dive into the world of pull-downs. With a plethora of variations and attachments available, the options are virtually endless. While delving into the specifics of each could easily turn this into an hour-long video, I'll keep it concise. The truth is that every variation of the pull-down offers fantastic muscle activation. It just depends on which area of your back you're looking to target. For simplicity, I highly recommend sticking to the side-to-side lateral pull-downs. It's a foolproof choice, but don't hesitate to experiment with different variations to discover what works best for you. Overall, this exercise with almost all of its variations earns a solid S-tier rating. Before we dive into the next one though, a quick heads up, never go for behind the neck pull downs. Not only do they lack muscle activation, but they're also a one-way ticket to injury city. I'd give that variation a solid D. No wait, a D-, while the others stay a hard S. The timeless classic, the pull-up. In my book, it's the absolute king of back exercises. With endless variations to choose from, if I had to crown the best one, it would probably be the wide pull-up. But hold your grip, make sure not to go too wide on the bar. Sometimes I see folks stretching out their arms like they're trying to hug the sky, and that's not ideal for muscle growth. Yes, the wide pull-up is a great back exercise, but I still recommend experimenting with different variations. Just please don't be that guy who is doing the behind the neck pull-up. This variation is literally useless. Solid S tier for the pull-up gang without the behind the neck one. If I had to rate the behind the neck pull-up, I would also give it a D-. The inverted row, a staple in the calisthenics playbook. But when we're comparing it to the heavy hitters in the weightlifting world, it's got its drawbacks. Sure, it's great for bodyweight workouts, but when it comes to adding the all-important progressive overload, it falls short. Tossing on some extra weight just feels awkward, doesn't it? If this were a calisthenics video, it'd be getting a solid S. But for our hybrid purposes, it's landing a C. Cable rows are a personal favorite for many athletes. They provide a deep stretch on the lats while delivering a crazy pump, making them a standout exercise. It's no wonder they deserve a spot in the S tier category. Alright, now we have the straight arm lat pull down. It's a fantastic exercise that targets the lats and happens to be one of my personal favorites. However, achieving a strong mind-to-muscle connection and executing perfect form are crucial to effectively engage the lats. Many individuals struggle with this aspect, which is why I'm rating it a B, but for those who excel in mind-to-muscle connection, it can easily climb up to an A. Okay, now I know you've been waiting for the one-arm dumbbell row, and that moment, it's finally here. This movement delivers an incredible stretch at the bottom and activates those muscles like a champ at the top. Now, the only hiccup is that some folks feel it more in their arms than their back, but fear not, that's usually a form issue. However, once you max out the dumbbells at your gym, progress can hit a roadblock. That's why it lands solidly in the A tier. Alright, let's dive into the Meadows row. This movement is like a symphony for your back, delivering a killer stretch and hitting your mid-back with sky-high tension. The beauty? You can target each side individually for maximum muscle activation. However, it is a bit of a time hog, which is why it's snagging an A rating. Let's talk about Renegade rows. I couldn't resist bringing this up after witnessing it in the gym yesterday. Honestly, it's the black sheep of back exercises. It feels more like an upper body compound movement than a true back exercise. While it's not necessarily bad for your upper body, it falls short when it comes to back activation. Sorry, but this one's getting a solid D.
Oh hey, it's me again. I promise this will be the last voice switch for today. After we dive into the best and worst exercises for the abs, we will be back to my voice as usual. So without further ado, I'm passing the mic back to Austin for one final time.
First, you need to remove all of the videos you have saved on Instagram and TikTok that are titled 5-minute ab routine or get abs in 30 days. How about those HIIT-style circle routines? Let me ask you this, would you jump around like a fish out of water to build your shoulders? Probably not. So why would you do a cardio-based ab workout routine? Our abs are like every other body part, and you need progressive overload to build them. The HIIT-style ab workouts are rated a D. With that out of the way, let's move on to the sit-up. This all-time classic is a great starting point for every beginner athlete, but it's also fantastic for those who are advanced. It offers a really good stretch on your core muscles, which is ideal for building muscle. You can also add weight over time, which makes them perfect for progressive overload. However, there is one problem with this move. If you have tight hips and aren't that good at mobility, you will put a lot of pressure on your lower spine discs, which can cause an injury. That's why I'm placing them in the B section. For those who have mastered the body weight and weighted sit-up and can do 30+ reps on both, the next progression will be the elevated sit-up. Again, you can do it with your own body weight or with added weight. This variation offers more muscle activation than the regular sit-up. The only problem here is the risk of back injury, which is not high but still exists. That's why I'm putting it in the A section. And while we're on the topic of sit-ups, we can't skip the hanging sit-ups. Or can we? This Spider-Man variation might look cool in Hollywood movies, but I personally don't recommend it. The position you're in feels and looks awkward, not to mention the risk of slipping and falling on your neck. I'm putting this exercise in the C tier. The cousins of the sit-ups are crunches. In my opinion, this is a great exercise if you want to target those upper abs. A pro tip to make the exercise harder is to ensure you're not resting on the ground while you're in the bottom position. Make sure to stop right before you touch the ground to keep the tension high. However, there are better exercise selections out there, and this is why I'm giving it a solid B. The next exercise on the list is the bicycle crunch. The thing I like about this exercise is that it works your whole core, engaging both upper and lower abs as well as the obliques, providing a comprehensive abdominal workout. However, the thing I don't like is that you can't really apply a progressive overload to it, which limits its potential for long-term muscle growth and strength gains. That's why I'm placing it in the B section. Despite its limitations, it remains a solid choice for a well-rounded core routine. But before you get disappointed with all the crunch variations, let's dive into the machine crunch. This exercise is a game changer for progressive overload because you can easily adjust the weights to your current level. Plus, you'll definitely feel the burn in your core. It ticks off every checklist for a killer ab exercise, which is why it's soaring to the top in the S tier. Another top crunch variation is the cable crunch. This exercise is an absolute beast when it comes to building strong and visible abs. Progressive overload is easy, making it perfect for both beginner and advanced athletes. Just ensure you're doing it with correct form and targeting your core. Many people tend to swing their hands up and down like they're at a rock concert. If you're doing it the right way, this will be yet another S tier exercise. Let's move on to the hanging knee raises. This is a really good and effective exercise, but only if you do it with perfect form. I always see people in the gym swinging around like those inflatable balloons you see in the front of car dealerships. The only thing that you need to move here is your knees, and make sure that you have a really good muscle connection with your core. If you're doing it with proper form, this exercise is a solid A tier move. All of this applies to the hanging leg raises, but this one cranks up the challenge level, making it even more effective. With this move, you will get a full core activation. That's why we're placing it at the top of our list in the S tier. The boss of all hanging ab exercises is the toe to bar. Many people think you need the flexibility of a gymnast to pull off this movement, but that's not entirely true. Sure, if you're stiff as a wooden plank, it might seem close to impossible, but if you're average or even slightly below average in flexibility, you can definitely nail it with the right technique. This is my personal favorite exercise when it comes to abs, and it definitely deserves its spot in the GOAT section, S. All of the hanging exercises I mentioned require a strong grip, which not everyone has, especially if you're a beginner. That's why I recommend doing Roman chair, straight leg, or knee raises. The chair offers great support for your back, which eliminates the swinging problem for most people with hanging exercises. And at the same time, you won't have to worry about grip strength. This one is going in the A tier because it is slightly downgrading the hanging variations. If you think that 1 minute passes by fast, then you've never done a plank in your life. Or at least that's what the gym memes say. I completely agree that for a beginner athlete, the plank is a challenging exercise. But for a more advanced athlete, this exercise won't cut it. Did you know that the world record for a plank hold is over 9 hours? I haven't heard of someone doing hanging leg raises for 9 hours straight. That's why I'm putting this exercise in the C tier, because it's not as effective once you get used to it. Ever tried dumbbell side bends? If the answer is yes, I want to ask you, why? You don't need to put yourself through that torture. This exercise is one of the most useless ones out there when it comes to abs. In theory, it is for the obliques, but in reality, it does not activate your core the way it should. It also puts a lot of pressure on your lower back, which can lead to injuries. There are far more effective and safer exercises available to target your obliques without risking harm. This one's a solid D-. For sculpted obliques, nothing beats the cable twist. This exercise keeps constant tension on your core, ensuring optimal muscle activation. Plus, you can easily apply progressive overload to keep challenging yourself. It's a top tier move for sure, earning its spot in the S tier. You've probably heard the saying, abs are built in the gym, but made in the kitchen. But how many actually live by it? Here's the truth. No matter how intense your workout routine is, whether you're following Christian Bumstead's or David Late's program, your results will never reach their full potential if your nutrition is garbage. Training is 30% and nutrition is 70%. Generally speaking, if you want a visible six-pack, men should aim for a body fat percentage between 8 and 12%, while women should strive for 14 to 18%. Achieving these percentages requires a consistent diet focused on lean proteins, healthy fats, and complex carbohydrates. Remember, no matter how hard you train, without proper nutrition, those abs will remain hidden under a layer of fat.
As promised, no more voice swaps for today, and it is time to move to the next muscle group, which is the traps. The trapezius muscle is a large, triangular muscle that spans across your upper back and neck. It has 3 distinct parts, each serving a different function. Upper traps. Located on the top of your shoulders, they help with shrugging and lifting the shoulders, as well as supporting neck movements. Middle traps. Found between the shoulder blades, they retract the shoulders and aid in posture. Lower traps. Running down the middle back, they depress the shoulder blades and stabilize them during overhead movements. Most athletes focus solely on the upper traps, neglecting the other 2 parts, which is a big mistake, especially if your goal is to build a strong, functional back. Developing all areas of the trapezius not only enhances balance and strength, but also boosts performance in many exercises across the gym. My top selections will specifically target these factors. With that in mind, let's dive into the first exercise, which is the deadlift. In the compound movement category, this exercise is an absolute standout. However, when it comes to specifically building the trapezius muscles, I can't say the same. It engages too many muscle groups at once. Additionally, I wouldn't recommend it for beginners, as it's quite technical. There are far better alternatives for targeting the traps, which is why I'm placing it in the B category. Next up, we have face pulls. Without a doubt, this exercise is fantastic for shoulder development, effectively targeting the rear delts and improving shoulder stability. However, when it comes to the traps, the benefits are more limited. Face pulls primarily activate the middle traps, but they may not provide the ideal engagement for building overall trapezius strength. This is why it's landing in the B category next to the deadlift. However, you can improve the exercise by adding a few extra steps. After pulling the rope to your face, extend your arms overhead. Then bring your arms back down to your face before lowering the rope slowly. By incorporating these changes, you'll effectively target all 3 areas of the traps, elevating this exercise to an A-level move. Alright, let's dive into the overhead shrugs. Honestly, there's not much good to say about this exercise. It provides virtually 0 tension on the traps, leading to poor muscle engagement. You can't really go heavy, and it places unnecessary strain on your neck, increasing the risk of injury. Let's just throw this one in the junk section D and move on. Hex bar shrugs are excellent for building traps due to several reasons. The neutral grip allows for a more natural shoulder position, reducing strain on the wrists and shoulders, and making it easier to focus on contracting the traps. Additionally, the trap bar enables you to lift heavier weights compared to the other shrug variations, promoting better overload and muscle growth, especially in the upper traps. The design allows for a greater range of motion, ensuring deeper engagement and more effective trap development. It is going in the best of the best category S. Another shrug variation worth mentioning is behind the back shrugs, which come with some unique benefits and some limitations. This variation shifts more focus to the lower and middle traps, improving posture by pulling the shoulders back. The unique angle enhances muscle engagement, making it a valuable addition to your routine. However, it can place extra strain on the shoulders and wrist if not performed correctly and may feel uncomfortable for some. In my book, it's not a bad exercise, but also not the best of the best. This is why I'm placing it in the B category. Now, let's talk about regular barbell shrugs. If you already include deadlift variations in your routine, this might not be the best option since deadlifts naturally hit your traps. However, if deadlifts aren't a part of your program, barbell shrugs are an excellent addition to helping build trap size and strength. They allow for heavy loads and strong contractions, making them great for targeting the upper traps. This exercise is landing in the A category. The dumbbell shrug is like the barbell shrug's versatile sibling, and in my opinion, it's slightly better. With dumbbells, you can hold the weights at your sides, which isn't possible with a barbell. This reduces shoulder strain and helps target the traps more effectively. The truth is, both variations get the job done. So it really does come down to personal preference and the type of workout program you're following. It's going in the A section alongside his brother. Next, we have the upright row, which is a poor exercise for the traps due to its high risk of shoulder impingement and limited muscle activation. The movement involves pulling the barbell or dumbbell upwards, which can cause the rotator cuff tendons to get pinched, leading to pain or long-term injury. Additionally, this exercise primarily engages the front deltoids and doesn't effectively target the traps, especially the lower and middle portions. If you've seen my shoulder ranking video, you already know that I don't recommend this exercise, even for targeting the delts, due to its significant limitations. The risk of damaging the shoulder joint outweighs the potential benefit for the traps, making it a less favorable choice. For these reasons, it is going all the way down in our ranking in the D tier. Cable rows are a solid exercise for the traps and overall back development. I recommend using a wide bar and pulling it toward your chest to effectively target all three areas of your traps. While the upper traps may have slightly less activation, the middle and lower traps will definitely be engaged, making this a great addition to your routine. It is a B tier trap exercise in my opinion. Have you ever seen someone performing rolling shrugs? If the answer is yes, go and give them a gentle slap. And if that is you, just slap yourself twice. The rolling motion can lead to improper form, increasing the risk of neck and shoulder injuries. Additionally, this unnatural movement can result in poor posture and stability. In my opinion, this exercise is your one-way ticket to a physiotherapist. Let's just put it in the trash, and that is it. Let's move to the incline Y raises, which are generally not effective for targeting the traps for several reasons. They primarily focus on the deltoids and rotator cuff, leading to minimal activation in the traps. The exercise also requires careful control to maintain proper form, and it's easy to use momentum, increasing the risk of shoulder injuries. Additionally, it's difficult to use heavy weights, limiting its effectiveness for muscle growth. I won't say it's the worst thing you can do, but it definitely won't lead to massive traps. For me, it's a C tier exercise. While we're on the incline bench, let's analyze the incline dumbbell shrugs. I consider this a solid exercise that effectively gets the job done. One of the best aspects of this movement is its safety and straightforward technique, making it accessible for many. However, it does provide less activation for the lower traps. Overall, I'd rate it as a B tier move in terms of effectiveness. I want to group the next movements into one category, behind the neck exercises. In my opinion, every single one of these, whether it's a pull down, pull up, or barbell movement, it is terrible for your neck health and shoulders. Not to mention the muscle activation is far from ideal. The risks associated with these exercises simply aren't worth it in my book. Therefore, I consider all the behind the neck exercises to be D tier moves. I know I might get roasted in the comments for this, but I'm open to hearing your arguments if you disagree. T-bar rows are a favorite exercise of Ronnie Coleman, and for good reason. This movement allows you to lift heavy while providing a deep stretch for your muscles, effectively targeting your entire back. Just be sure to maintain proper form to avoid any strain on the lower back. This one is landing in the A section. The farmer's walk is an underrated exercise in my opinion, mainly because I don't see many people talking about it or incorporating it into their routines. I understand it can be challenging if your gym is crowded, but I can't overlook its benefits. This compound movement engages your entire body, not just your traps. Incorporating the farmer's walk into your training can lead to numerous benefits, including improved strength, stability, and grip. It's a game changer you won't want to miss. I'm putting it in the A tier next to the other legendary moves. Want a thick and strong neck? Who doesn't, right? This is the next muscle group on our list. So let's dive straight into the rankings without wasting any more time. To achieve a strong, thick neck, it's essential to focus on 3 key areas: the front, sides, and the back of the neck. Each of these areas contributes to the overall strength and appearance, so targeting them effectively will create a well-rounded and powerful profile. In today's exercise selection, we'll highlight the top movements that target all 3 key areas needed to develop a well-built neck. Focusing on each section will not only help you build a thicker neck, but also improve posture, reduce the risk of injury, and enhance overall athletic performance. With that said, let's kick things off with the first exercise on our list, which is neck bridges. This challenging movement involves lying on your back and lifting your body off the ground using the strength of your neck and head, forming a bridge with your head as one of the main points of contact. While this exercise is popular among combat athletes for building neck strength, it's far from beginner-friendly. The high risk of compressing the cervical spine, straining neck muscles, and potentially causing serious injury to the vertebrae makes this movement one that most people should steer clear of. The potential for harm outweighs the benefits, so it's best to choose safer alternatives for strengthening the neck. This is why I'm putting it in the B section of our list. Next up are headstand neck exercises. These are a challenging group of movements performed by balancing in a headstand, such as headstand push-ups. These exercises involve placing your entire body's weight on the head and neck, which creates significant pressure on the cervical spine. This makes them inherently risky, as any instability or poor form can easily lead to severe injuries, including neck fractures and nerve damage. While these exercises might seem appealing for advanced athletes looking to build neck strength, the muscle activation they offer is actually quite limited compared to safer alternatives. Additionally, the risk-to-reward ratio is heavily skewed towards the risk side, making these exercises unsuitable for most people. For these reasons, all types of headstand neck exercises are best avoided, especially when there are other safer ways to strengthen the neck and upper body without compromising spinal health. For these reasons, all exercises of this type land firmly in the never to be seen again category, D. Let's continue with barbell shrugs behind the back, a variation of the classic shrug exercise often used by athletes to target the upper back and traps. While some also attempt to use it as a neck building exercise, this movement comes with significant drawbacks. Unlike traditional barbell shrugs, this variation requires you to hold the barbell behind your back, which forces your shoulders and neck into an awkward position. This unnatural angle not only increases the risk of shoulder impingement, but also puts excessive stress on the neck, leading to potential strain or injury. The compromised position makes it challenging to maintain proper form, which further heightens the risk of injury. Additionally, the mechanics of this exercise don't effectively engage the neck muscles, making it a poor choice for those looking to build neck strength. This exercise is a hard D in my book. Now, let's focus on a broad category of exercises often performed behind the neck, such as behind the neck lat pull-downs, pull-ups, and shoulder presses. While these movements might appear to target the neck, shoulders, upper back, and lats effectively, they come with significant risks, especially concerning neck health and muscle building safety. When you perform exercises behind the neck, your shoulders and neck are forced into unnatural positions, which can lead to several issues. The neck, in particular, is placed under undue stress as you tilt your head forward to accommodate the movement. This awkward positioning increases the likelihood of straining the cervical spine, leading to neck pain, discomfort, and even more severe injuries over time. Moreover, the mechanics of the behind-the-neck movements do not engage the neck muscles as effectively as one might hope. Instead of building strength, these exercises often result in compensatory actions from other muscle groups, reducing the effectiveness of the workout while increasing the risk of injury. The strain on the rotator cuff muscles and the surrounding shoulder joint further exacerbates this issue, as these areas are particularly vulnerable when positioning behind the neck. And this is why I'm placing all behind the neck exercises in the D section. Alright, now that you're aware of the exercises to avoid for building a strong and muscular neck, let's shift gears to discover which movements will actually deliver significant results. For the front side, you need to do some kind of neck curl movement. You can start with bodyweight exercises such as neck flexions on a gym bench. Lie on your back with your head hanging off the end. Tuck your chin towards your chest and lift your head slightly off the bench, then lower it back down. This movement helps to engage and strengthen the muscles at the front of your neck. Once you're comfortable with the bodyweight version, you can progress to weighted exercises. A neck curl with a plate is an excellent option. Lie on your back on the bench, hold a weight plate against your forehead, and perform the same chin to chest motion. This added resistance will intensify the workout and promote greater muscle development in the neck. The bodyweight version of this exercise is landing in the A category since you can't apply progressive overload, but the weighted version is definitely an S tier move. For the sides of the neck, you need to do a neck rotation or some kind of lateral plate rotation. You can start with bodyweight exercises like lateral neck flexion. Sit on a gym bench with your back straight and tilt your head towards one shoulder, bringing your ear closer to your shoulder. Hold for a moment, then return to the starting position and switch sides. This movement targets the muscles along the sides of your neck and helps improve flexibility. Once you're comfortable with the bodyweight exercise, you can progress to weighted options for greater intensity. Lateral neck flexion with a plate involves lying on your side on the bench with a weight plate held against the side of your head. The exercise rating follows the same pattern as before. The bodyweight version is an A tier move, while the weighted variant ranks in the S tier. And for the backside, you need to do a neck extension. You can start with a bodyweight exercise like the prone neck extension. Lie face down on a gym bench with your head hanging off the edge. Lift your head towards the ceiling, hold it for a moment, then lower it back down. This movement targets the muscles at the back of your neck effectively. To progress to a weighted version, try the weighted neck extension. Lie face down on the bench, hold a weight plate against the back of your head, and perform the same lifting motion. Again, the bodyweight variation lands in the A category, while the weighted version is in the GOAT section S tier. I recommend starting with bodyweight exercises before progressing to the weighted variations. It's crucial to master the movement and build a strong mind-muscle connection to avoid injury. Unlike other muscle groups, the neck is often neglected, so you'll likely see significant results in the first month, even with just bodyweight exercises. Focus on perfecting your form and technique to set a solid foundation for future gains and minimize the risk of injury. Once you've mastered the bodyweight exercises and are ready to advance to weighted alternatives, it's crucial to ensure that you're not relying on arms to lift the plate or dumbbell. Instead, concentrate on engaging your neck muscles to perform the movement. Keep your arms relaxed and out of the equation, as this helps isolate the neck muscles and enhances the effectiveness of the exercise. By focusing solely on your neck muscles, you'll not only improve muscle activation but also reduce the risk of injury. This approach helps build a strong mind-muscle connection, ensuring that the targeted muscles are getting the maximum benefit from each rep. Over time, this refined technique will lead to more significant gains and better overall neck strength and stability. But what about exercises with a head harness? This tool is incredibly valuable for neck training. A head harness allows you to perform a range of effective neck exercises, including those we've discussed, and it's especially versatile. Its design is perfect for both home workouts and travel, providing flexibility and convenience. You've probably even seen people in the gym using it. You can attach a resistance band to the head harness for a dynamic workout, which allows for adjustable resistance and a full range of motion. Alternatively, using a weight plate can provide consistent, heavy resistance to intensify your training. Both methods are effective in strengthening and developing your neck muscles. Given its effectiveness and versatility, I'm rating the head harness in the S tier. It's a top-tier choice for anyone serious about building a strong, resilient neck. The next ranking isn't focused on a muscle group. Instead, we're switching things up. I'll be diving into the best and worst cardio exercises and equipment for calorie burn. Cardio is a crucial component of any balanced fitness routine, whether your goal is to lose weight or build muscle. However, not all cardio exercises are created equal, but which ones are the most effective and which ones might not be worth your time? We will rank each exercise or gym equipment based on how many calories you burn per hour, which is one of the most critical metrics when it comes to cardio. However, cardio offers far more benefits than just burning calories. It enhances cardiovascular health, boosts your endurance, reduces stress, and even improves mental clarity. With that said, let's start our ratings with one of the most commonly used pieces of cardio equipment, which is the stationary bike. There are 4 main types of bikes in this category: air bike, spin bike, upright bike, and finally, we have the recumbent bike. The recumbent bike is the most comfortable and least intense option, making it great for beginners, those with joint issues, or anyone looking for a low-impact workout. While it still provides cardiovascular benefits, the lower intensity typically results in fewer calories burned compared to the other bikes. This is why I'm placing it in the D section of our list. The upright bike offers a solid cardio workout and burns a decent amount of calories, primarily targeting the lower body. However, as your body adapts to this routine over time, its effectiveness in calorie burning may decrease. Many professional athletes, including Greg Doucette, share this perspective. Despite this, the upright bike remains versatile, allowing you to incorporate both steady state and interval training into your workouts. This bike is landing in the C section of our list. Next up, we have the spin bike, which is designed for high-intensity, continuous pedaling. With its ability to adjust resistance and mimic outdoor cycling, it offers a challenging workout that can burn a significant amount of calories, especially during spin classes or interval training. And this is why it deserves its spot in the A section of our tier list. When it comes to gym bikes, the air bike tops the list because it engages both your upper and lower body, leading to a higher calorie burn. The resistance increases the harder you work, making it perfect for high-intensity workouts. It's often used in high-intensity interval training, often known as HIIT, which is known for maximizing calorie burn in a shorter period. However, the downside is that it's tough to sustain this workout for long periods because you'll likely gas out and need a break. Sure, if you can go on for an hour non-stop, you'll burn more calories compared to the other bikes. But let's be real, very few people can maintain that intensity without needing a break. That's why I'm placing it in the A tier list, right alongside the spin bike. Now, besides the gym bikes, we also have the standard bike, which is definitely your best bet when it comes to burning calories. The standard bike offers a more dynamic and varied workout compared to stationary gym bikes. When riding a standard bike outdoors, you encounter natural terrain changes, wind resistance, and the need to balance, all of which engage more muscle groups and increase the intensity of your workout. This leads to a higher calorie burn. Additionally, the real-world challenges of outdoor cycling, like hills and varying surfaces, push your body to work harder than in the controlled environment of a gym, making it more effective for overall fitness and calorie burning. Without any doubt, this makes it an S-tier exercise. Okay, now it's time to move on to the treadmill. If you're someone who holds onto the treadmill while walking or running, I hate to break it to you, but you're not doing yourself any favors. When you grip the treadmill handles, you significantly reduce the intensity of your workout by shifting the effort away from your legs and core, which are key to burning calories and building endurance. If you're running or walking on a flat treadmill, the calories you burn are relatively lower because the effort required is less intense. In contrast, a treadmill set at 50% incline significantly increases the difficulty by forcing you to work harder against gravity. This steeper incline engages more muscle groups, particularly in your legs and core, and requires more energy, leading to a higher calorie burn. I'm placing the flat treadmill in the B section and the incline variation in the A tier. But wait, is there a difference between running on a treadmill compared to the outdoors? Absolutely. And here's why. Running outdoors exposes you to varying terrain, wind resistance, and weather conditions, which naturally increases the intensity of your workout. The unpredictability of outdoor surfaces and the need to navigate obstacles force your body to adapt and work harder. Treadmills, while convenient and adjustable, provide a controlled environment that doesn't quite replicate these real-world challenges. We are placing outdoor running in the GOAT section S tier. What about sprinting? Outdoor sprinting, especially on elevated surfaces, is undeniably one of the best forms of cardio you can do. Sprinting uphill not only intensifies your workout, but also engages more muscle groups and burns more calories, making it an S-tier exercise on our list. Indoor sprinting on a treadmill, while also highly effective, ranks in the A tier. Treadmills allow you to sprint at high speeds and adjust the incline to boost intensity, but they don't replicate the natural challenges of outdoor terrain. Let's move on to the Stairmaster, which happens to be one of my personal favorite cardio exercises. The Stairmaster provides an excellent workout, but its main focus is on the lower body. While it effectively targets your legs and glutes, it doesn't engage the upper body as much. Despite this, it's still a fantastic cardio option and it remains a top contender on our list. That's why I'm placing it in the A tier. Even though it's not the absolute best overall, it's still a top choice in my book for a great cardio workout. At the end of the day, it's important to enjoy what you're doing. Just make sure not to hold onto the machine, as gripping the handles can significantly reduce the effectiveness of your workout. Next on the list is the rowing machine. Full-body cardio exercises like rowing have a distinct advantage when it comes to burning calories, as they engage multiple muscle groups simultaneously. However, this machine can place significant strain on your lower back and can be challenging to use for extended periods. To maximize calorie burn, you need to sustain an exercise for a longer duration, not just 5 to 6 minutes. Let's face it, keeping up a steady rowing pace for a full hour is no easy feat. Because of these factors, I'm placing it in the B tier. While it's an effective workout, its limitations make it a bit less ideal for prolonged sessions. Recently, I came across a fascinating experiment where 2 athletes wore specialized equipment to measure their heart rate, breathing, and other key factors to track calorie burn. They performed various exercises for 60 seconds, and here's how many calories each one burned. For burpees, 12.56 calories. For mountain climbers, 9.63 calories. Jumping squats, 12.12 calories. Jumping lunges, 6.32 calories. Jumping jacks, 6.46 calories. Medicine ball slams, 13.2 calories. Running in one place, 3.5 calories. Body weight squats, 6.2 calories. Kettlebell swings, 11 calories. devil's press, 14.5 calories, jump rope, 9 calories, and last, high knees was at 8 calories. These are the 12 most popular exercises for HIIT-style cardio workouts. While HIIT is incredibly effective for burning calories, the drawback is that you can't sustain it for long periods without needing a break. For those looking to maximize calorie burn over a set period, moderate cardio performed for longer durations often proves more effective. These are the reasons I'm placing this form of cardio in the B section. Let's move on to boxing, which is one of the best forms of cardio you can do, period. Boxing offers a comprehensive workout that combines high-intensity intervals with full-body engagement. It boosts cardiovascular endurance, enhances strength, and improves coordination. The combination of punching, footwork, and defensive maneuvers ensures that you're constantly moving and working multiple muscle groups, making it highly effective for burning calories and building overall fitness. Without any doubt, it's going in the S tier. What about strength or hypertrophy training? Do these training methods burn calories? Absolutely. They do burn calories, but they fall short when compared to specialized cardio workouts. Research has shown that while strength and hypertrophy training are excellent for building muscle and overall fitness, they typically don't burn as many calories during a regular workout session compared to more cardio-focused exercises. That's why we're placing them in the B tier. Swimming is a powerhouse when it comes to burning calories because it engages almost every muscle group in your body. Whether you're doing laps in the pool or performing different strokes, the resistance of the water provides a full-body workout that elevates your heart rate and challenges your cardiovascular system. Additionally, the buoyancy of the water reduces the impact on your joints, allowing for a high-intensity workout with minimal risk of injury. This makes swimming not only effective for burning calories, but also a great option for overall fitness and endurance. It is going straight in the GOAT section next to the other S-tier exercises. If you've made it this far in the video, my team and I want to personally thank you. You are a legend. Feel free to drop a comment if you have any questions, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. I always aim to respond to all of your comments.